Baki, that for you, if you would call the Fatiha for us.
Alhamdulillah. From the heart of our pioneer Adina Jirahi, the heart of our prophet, messengers, and mothers. Al-Fatiha. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الرحمن الرحيم. مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Amen.
Thank you. Let's see here. So today we have our brother Salah from Sana'a, Yemen. He sent us a recording so we can listen to this poem. This is the 8th poem of these thesis poems or love poems about love. And let's see if I can get that up for you. Here we go. And let me keep looking. Okay, so now I can see Aisha. So Aisha, give me a sign if there's anything wrong. Here we go. So.
ولما رأيت الحب يعظم قدره وما لي به حتى الممات يداني تعشقت حب الحب دهري ولم أقل كفاني الذي قد نلت منه كفاني فأبدى لي المحبوب شمس اتصاله أضاء به كوني وعين جناني وذاب فؤادي خيفة من جلاله فوقع لي في الحين خط أماني ونزهني في روض أنس جماله فغبت عن الأرواح والثقلان وأحضرني والسر مني غائب وغيبني والأمر مني داني فإن قلت إنا واحد فوجوده وإن أثبتوا عيني فمزدوجان ولكنه مزج رقيق منزه يرى واحدا والعلم يشهد ثاني فقلت له وهو القؤول وإنه عبارته المثلى جرت بلساني أيا من بدا في نفسه لنفيسه ولا عدد فالعين مني فاني فنفسك شاهدت النفيسة منعما بنفسك وانظر في المراة تراني فيا غائبا من كان هذا مقامه يرى في جنان الناعمات بجاني فلا والذي طارت إلى حسن ذاته قلوب فأفناها عن الطيران.
Okay, so Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So we have here Walamma ra'aytu, when I saw, Al-Hubba, when I saw love, Ya'zumu qadruhu, I saw love's measure growing tremendously. So measure here is also value. So when I saw how valuable love was and that it's growing tremendously. وَمَالِي بِهِ حَتَّى الْمَمَاتِ يَدَانِ. So here we have to go, and there was not, I did not have yadan, a way to approach who, hatta mamat, until I died. So when I realized, when I saw the tremendous value and measure of love, and I knew that I had no way to approach who until dying. So this is the death is the way that we meet the beloved. So this is why those ones who are these mystic lovers, they are the brides of Allah. They're the brides who are waiting for their death so that they can be presented as brides to the one they love. And they are the beloveds. And so I became passionately in love with love. So in love with love is the theme or the thesis of this poem and of this chapter, and we could say of the Futuhat, and we can keep going. dahri, for all of my life. Walam aqul, and I never said, kafani, it's enough. Whatever has been bestowed upon me from who, min who, from who, it's enough. So I never said it's enough. Whatever had been bestowed to me of who, it's enough. So we look at this love of love. And I'm just going to make sure I keep everything here. So the question then is, how does this love of love work? But before that, let's start with the first word that introduces the chapter, which is and. So I remember reading somewhere, someone was a kind of a modern Turkish writer, and they said they would never have and the way the old school way of doing things, always starting sentences with and. Well, Ibn Arabi starts the sentence with and for a number of reasons. Partly because everything is connected and everything is and this and that and that. And also, it's a good way to put the intellect to sleep. So last week, some of us were in Alhambra, and we had an amazing guide who was a closet Sufi or a hidden Sufi. And she was saying, you know why there's patterns everywhere, where everything is always repeating? She said, doesn't it get boring? And she said, it's because it's meant to be boring to the intellect. And I thought, well, that's why we do dhikr of all these names. Why don't we, instead of doing 165, 99 names, shouldn't one or two just be enough? Well, it's to get the intellect to fall asleep so the heart can rise and speak. So that's why everything starts with and there. So made passionately in love with love. And of course, the moment you say love with love, you have to think of Farida Busman and her song, I'm in love with love. So inshallah, we'll hear that at the end. And you also hear the mystic guide. So strive to become the pure human being, one who knows love, one who knows pain. Be full, be humble, be utterly silent, be the bowl of wine passed from hand to hand. So the solution to loving God and having no way to meet him until he, Ibn Arabi, dies and meets him as a bride, what's the solution? It is to love love. This means to love every bursting forth of love, every overflowing of love in Zayd and Amr, in Zainab and in Ayah. So Ibn Arabi tells that to us a lot. And he says, whenever I say Zainab and Ayah, and here in this poem, he has a poem where he says, whenever I say Zainab and Inayat, and he gets a little frustrated, so he might translate, dude, you should know who I'm talking about. So it's a bit frustrating there. You should know when he talks about Zayd and Amr and Zainab and Inayat, you should know who he's talking about. So the beauty of Ibn Arabi's writing is that he's utterly open and honest. So he's telling us that the love of love is that every bursting forth of this love. And we see this, we talked about the khirqa, the cloak, the Sufi cloak of honor, where you, as in the North African universities, the first ones, they would put a cloak on you and a sash. And this is what we do in universities today when you're saying you're ready to go out into the world. So his love was bursting forth for all of these people who were going to take out this secret and convey this secret through the lineages. And these, as we know from those poems, they're girls, women, and a freed slave. So the girls, the women, and the freed slave who are sent out to convey this secret. Now, Ibn Arabi himself, with this love to love, loving love, he really helps me see, by being so honest, how all of this works. And it's never been a one thing only. He really has moved through many different stations to reach the station that he finally ends with. And we'll also conclude, I think, inshallah, with what that ending is. But the beginnings was as a teenager in Sevilla and other places. And again, we were just there a few weeks ago, and even in pandemic, out in the street, guitar playing in the middle of the night, singing at the loudest noise in the middle of the night. So Ibn Arabi had all of that experience. But for him, it was a conflicting experience, as we say today, because he would barely get back in time for Fajr, the pre-dawn prayer. And so he always felt kind of strange about all that. He also felt strange about, he would watch the dancers, and the dancers are the falah manja. They're falah manja, flamenco. So he would watch flamenco, and also having these, what we now call conflictions and things like that. He says to us that of all his friends, that no one disliked women more than him. And this was the state that he was in until women were made beloved to him. So made beloved to him means that his love for them is the love of love. And so this isn't, the man's, lusting love for the woman. It's made beloved to me so that he could love love. So this is, from the teenage to somewhere in his early adult life, women being made beloved to him. And then he has his experience at the Kaaba, where he kind of falls apart and falls in utter love and writes beautiful, beautiful poetry. And then later on in his life, and this is somewhere around in one of the chapters, 300 something, he'll say, and so I wrote this book, this poem, which we know, the Tarjum al-Ashraq. I wrote this poem, and people thought it was just, romantic poetry. He says it wasn't romantic poetry. And so I was prompted to write a commentary to explain what I really meant when I wrote this poetry. And he said, and good for them for arguing with me, and good for them for thinking that this was just romantic poem, because it prompted me to tell what was really going on. And then he comes to a stage which we'll look a little bit more in the end. At the end, towards the end of his life, he comes to a stage which we'll have on the third to last verse here, is when he is told, look into the mirror and you will see me. So Allah tells him, look into the mirror and you see me. So this is, in a sense, the final. And it's he's going to have to explain to us how that happens. And just to have that in the back of your mind and the back of your heart, we're going to go to a place where it says, where Muhammad Ibn Arabi says that when he bestows this cloak of honor upon his daughter Safiya, he says, come along my course. My course is the one of the Hashmi, of the Arabi. So the Hashmi, the Arabi, this is the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, that's his way. And the Arabi, of course, you hear that in Ibn Arabi. And Ibn, of course, is son of, or child of. And the child inherits from the father. So Muhammad, son inheriting from the Arabi. So that's why he can look into the mirror and he sees me. And so this looking into the mirror, because he told us very carefully, don't look into your own mirror, look into the mirror of your prophet. And so he tells us how he does that. And so I was thinking, how do I back up until I can say, oh, I need to say this before I say that about loving love, on and on. Kept backing up until I got to this point. And this point is the Alif Lam Mim, and the point of the Alif Lam Mim. So we have the first sound that comes is an ah, that is an ah with an H, A and H, or A-A-H-H. And so this is a sigh. And so the sigh is, I am a treasure concealed in you, and I long and I love to be recognized. So I create the creation, I create you, and I introduce myself to you, and you love me. And so this sigh makes the mist. And in the mist, there's the H, there's the A-A-H-H. And in that mist, the A-A-H-H sigh wakes up, bursts into life, and says, there is no reality but you. And then the reality, the light, says, and you are the messenger of my reality. And then all of that truth dips into somewhere. It dips into what we call malakut, the higher angelic hosts, and the pen and the tablet and the higher angels, the one near your throne, all of these higher light beings. These light beings, and of course, light of Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, these light beings are an alif. And you notice that the alif doesn't touch the other two letters. The alif is always alone. And in fact, grammatically, the alif never appears by itself. It's always a hamza. When it comes from the deepest part, it comes into a hamza. And the deepest part is the beginning of the entrance into the cosmos, into the mulk, the kingdom. And this entrance into the kingdom is a primal point. And it's a throne over this cosmos. And that throne is settled by Ar-Rahman and settled upon this throne. Then there is a gap. There's a gap until the kingdom is dipped into, and this kingdom creates another membrane. So the meme of the kingdom creates the membrane of the lam. So we have alif, lam, meme. And so this primal point is a dot. And when the Wali Songo, when the awliya who came to Indonesia, they came to the Banda Aceh. They came to the good people. They came to the good people of Banda Aceh. So they were Aceh Banda, Banda Aceh. And so they were given the remembrance that the dot is everywhere. So Abu Madian says, there's nothing I see, but I see the dot underneath it. And they were given this reminder of the dot of the ba. So the ba is the Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Under the ba is the dot, and that is the ba tik. The ba tik, batitik. So that's batik. So batik is the clothes that we wear. So the batik is the Wali Songo's way of helping people remember that behind everything, in front of everything, is the dot. And this dot is a dot when looked at from above. So when we look at it from the side, the dot is a line. And so we see a line, a stick. So a stick seen from above is a dot, seen from the side is a line. And then that stick, that line, is the hula hoop that's been turned to you. And when you move the hula hoop that way, you say, oh, it's a circle. So the hula hoop straight at you is a line, then it's a circle. And that circle then is also the great equator of a sphere. So when you move again, you see a sphere. And so,
Andiamo occupato che no, non hai messo nada, pero le ricolocamos.
Aisha, if you could help with the sound. And so, so that the sphere is, so the primal point is not is a point, but it's a line, but it's a circle, but it's a sphere. And the sphere is a sphere which has no back. So you can't go around the sphere and see the back. And this is Lesa warahu marma. There is not behind who any place to target. So the sphere is a sphere that has no back. It's a sphere that therefore is wherever you are. So the sphere is with you wherever you are. And this sphere is projecting onto a screen, but the screen is three-dimensional, not two-dimensional. And it's casting through a puppet. So the shadow play puppet is three-dimensional and casts a two-dimensional image. We are three-dimensional images, so our puppets are four-dimensional, and they're cast to this four-dimensional puppet a light which creates this three-dimensional form. And because we are spheres in a hypersphere, we don't have a point of origin, we have a line of origin. So a line of origin extends through us all, and that's the shish kebab of life. Each part of the shish kebab looks inside and says, this is the center of the universe, and it is the center of the universe. In a hypersphere, there is no point. There's only this sphere, this originating sphere. So from this primal, this point, the primal Aleph shines. From this pure point, the primal Aleph shines. And then when it shines, that primal Aleph shines into a circle. And a circle has no beginning, middle, or end. So the kingdom has no beginning, and middle, or end until a notch is made. The moment a notch is made, that's the beginning, and that's the end. Embracing all the beginning and the end. So this is how that all works. So from outside of time and space, this nightingale, stranger to place and time, dips into the kingdom. From the higher host of the light beings, through the membrane where we go for dreams and the vast earth, and the kind mercy of Ar-Rahman settles on this cosmic throne, which is the deepest part of our chest. And from this pure point, the primal aleph shines, the ah emerges as ha, and then it goes through our body out into the last part of our lips, the u sound. And so we have h, u, hu. Now, Ibn Arabi is also telling us that some people can love the u sound and go all the way back into the aleph, the beginning sound. But not everyone. And he says those people who lived with the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they actually had, not all of them loved him. And it was difficult for some to love him. He says that if a black beetle jumped on the table and started speaking, that we would all say, oh, that's revelation, and we would all accept it. But when a human being who looks just like us starts speaking and says, that's God speaking, that gives us a resistance. And so the resistance goes when the bodily Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam passes. And when he passes, we have more intimacy with him than people had when he was the solar Muhammad. And so we won't go into that. Time is going short. This circle, the moment the circle is given a time, a beginning, it's also given the end. And the Prophet ﷺ said, the time period with me came back to where it was when the heaven and the earth were originated. And so we also saw on this strip, on this Mobius strip, that there's an inside, an outside, an inside, and an outside. So the inside is the light of Muhammad, invisible to the mulk, which is this area, this kingdom. Then this light of Muhammad becomes outward in the body of Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And when the body of Muhammad is a composite being, therefore a simple being called the light of Muhammad, this light being, enters into composite, everything is forgotten. So that when the light, which is simple, enters into the composite body and the body forgets, the body has to be shivering in the cave of Hira, go back to Khadija, and in her lap, he is told who he is and reminded who he is. And then this becomes inward again with his passing. So he passes, becomes inward, and then we have again this close intimacy because it's our time. And then the outward time again will be at the day of judgment, for arising, for judgment, and all of the people. He is the Sayyid, the master of all of the people outwardly. So inward, outward, inward, outward. And Omar will take us through these two verses to give these four stages, these four segments.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. هو الأول والآخر والظاهر والباطن وهو بكل شيء عليم. He is the first and the last, the apparent and the hidden, and he is all knowing of all there is. كيف تكفرون بالله وكنتم أمواتا فأحياكم ثم يميتكم ثم يحييكم ثم إليه ترجعون. How can you disbelieve in God when you were dead and he gave you life? Then he made you die, and then he made you alive, and then to him you return. صدق الله العظيم.
Thank you. Wonderful. Baki, if you could sing now our number 5.
Alhamdulillah. I was life before eternity. I am Lahanu Muhammadi. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. I was truth before eternity. I am true Haq Muhammadi. La ilaha illallah. I was love before eternity. I am Lord Muhammadi. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. I am Ahmed with other letter mean. Ahmed, beloved, that one. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. I am the radiant city of knowledge. Imam Ali, the open gate to me. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. The way of truth is a historical. Is the poor beneath the Bismillah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. From this pure point, the primal lovely shine, embracing all the beginning and the end. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. Ya Ali, Ya Hassan, Ya Hussein, Ya Fatima, Ali, Lamim. La ilaha illallah. No more Mahasalala.
So thank you. So Ya Ali, Ya Hassan, Ya Hussein, Ya Fatima, Alif Lam Mim. So Alif Lam Mim is the mother of the book, and Alif Lam Mim is the procedure, the proceeding that we saw before of the mist, the Ah, the H, the Hu, ending with Aw, the Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and this mother of the book, then that. So Alif Lam Mim, Dhalik al-Kitab. That is the book without the doubt, the guidance for the humanity. And this, and our first word from the khutbah, from the sermon of the Futuhat, is coming from the void of, and its void, or something like that. It's a negative of a negative. So Ibn Arabi says, verify with your intellect if you are able to think. Our origin is a negative of a negative and a positive of a positive. So just hold with that. I won't try to translate the math. This will take you so far. Hold with that one. Is a negative of a negative and a positive of a positive. The matter that is strangest is that I've never not been outside of time. And I am that I am myself, despite this, a new sight in that. Yes, your cherisher is a sight of being, and with who there is nothing except who, and no past having passed, and no future that is to come. That's the timeless, the circle, the beginning and the end embraced. And the stranger to space and time comes in through this place of light, through this membrane of the dream, and into the kingdom here. And we've asked Mustafa to sing that, please.
This nightingale, stranger to space and time, has flown here from the garden of pure essence. That abode is simply the friend, all divine face gazing, gazing. This mad song becomes more beautiful as longing grows deeper and deeper. Dervish singing is now constant. Nothing surpasses this passionate love. This bold lover questions the source of being, why the soul flies into the veils of creation. So the light of supplication can flash from Allah's heart to Allah's heart. Only Allah, being beyond being, shining, shining, glorious shining. This dervish is now complete. Nothing surpasses this passionate love. Nothing surpasses this passionate love.
Thank you. So why do we come into the composite world? From being simple, there was never a time when I was not outside of time. We come into this world for supplication, to pass from Allah's heart to Allah's heart. So forgetting is essential to that journey. And we are reminded in the lap of our guides. And this is Khadija for Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So stranger to space and time enters into the simple. And then from the simple, when going into the kingdom, goes through the membrane, the dream, the vast earth, enters into the kingdom, the composite. And the kingdom is utterly light blocking. And so utterly light blocking so that the kingdom can be the projection of the light. And all of that, you could say that Ilahi was the third belief system in the Futuhat. Ibn Arabi gives us the first credo, 1 or 2 pages, and he says, this is a simple one, and all you need is that one. But if you want to know what the special ones, what their credo is, then he'll give in 8 pages, 9 pages, all the other details. And then he'll say the one that the truly special ones have. That credo, that belief system, is dispersed throughout the book. So the intellect is saying, let me read these 10,000 pages and come up and find out what this third belief system is. And as the intellect is trying to figure out which of these 10,000 pages is containing elements of this belief system, the heart is saying, I already have the belief system. I already know the belief system. There was never a time when I was not outside of time. And so those truths are the ones that he gives the cloak to the girls, the women, to the freed slave. He gives that cloak, say, pass this secret on, tell the people about this secret. And they weren't, so Dalal was passing on the 10,000 pages of the Futuhat and its teaching, but these others weren't passing on the 10,000 pages. They were passing on the secret. And now when we have this loving of love, one of the things that we want to have is, the beloved made a sun appear before me to join with who? So that sun is Shams, was Shamsuddha. So the beloved made appear to me a sun, Shamsuddha, made appear to me Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And his being was lit up, and the wellspring of my concealed heart was lit up. And so Ettisal here is to bring together in an aggregate, to bring together something and amalgate things. So they don't fuse into each other, they amalgate. And so they still have their distinct being, but they are one. So it's like the rocks in concrete. It's one ball of concrete with all the rocks that are in there. And so this wanting to come towards a source of that love that's the lover's seeking. That's the lover's process. That's the lover's quest and journey. Hamida, Noor, if you could sing this for us, please.
Longing for union is all that I am. The essence of reality is all that I long to be. Everywhere I look, I see the Holy Friend, soul of my soul, life of my life. High, high, everywhere I look, I see the Holy Friend, soul of my soul, life of my life. Nothing exists that veils the face of truth. This is the teaching of every mystic guide. Everywhere I look, the friend alone exists as universal light, as universal life. High, high, everywhere I look, the friend alone exists as universal light, as universal life.
So thank you. Wonderful. And well, I'm going to have to do some skipping here. So Omar, we're going to have to try this next time. We're getting a little bit on for time. In this poem, we have Jalal and then followed by Jamal. So when Ibn Arabi gets the fearful view of the Jalal, he seeks out and gets intimacy from the Jamal by following the line that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ made. So when we have the line in this poem, and I'll read the poem later, we have the line of this safe one. It's a safe line drawn by the safe one, Aman. So Aman here is Muhammad ﷺ. And this is the lines that when the Prophet ﷺ, he draws lines with a stick in the sand and he says, follow this line. This is the one that's for you. And it doesn't mean that the other lines don't go to the divine, but he said, this is the line for you. So this is my line. And this is the line that when we follow this one, then we're preserved, we're protected, and people don't throw rocks at us. And we don't get in trouble with saying who our beloved is. So more than one has reported to me this saying. Dunanun said, I was circling the Kaaba, I heard a sound, and the sound was a girl clinging to the curtains of the Kaaba. You know me, Habibi, you know me. The body and the spirit have withered away. So it must have been those two who told my secret. But my darling, I hid my love until my chest hurt. Dunanun said, I was distressed by what I heard, and I sobbed and wept. He said, my God, my master, my protector, by your love for me, but you ignored me. Dunanun says, that weighed on me. Girl, is it not enough for you to say, by my love for you, the divine, rather than saying, by your love for me? She said, get out of here, Dunanun. Do you not know that God has a people? He loves them before they love him. Have you not heard God saying, perhaps God will bring a people. He will love them and they will love him. He will love them and they will love him. His love for them goes before their love of him. Then I said, how do you know that I am Dunanun? She said, you're kidding me. The hearts roam the plaza of mystery, so of course I recognized you. Then she said, look at who is behind you. So I turned my face and I could not tell whether the sky had plucked her up or the earth had swallowed her. Musab will give us a few lines from this one. Ever since I became lost in love for you, everyone picks up a stone and throws it at my head. So Musab, are you able to give us some lines here? And then he says to the rocks that are thrown on his head, oh, you stones, didn't I also take you for my God once? And you're still coming up to my head. So Musab, if you're able to.
Yeah, the couplet from Hakim Nasir is, जब से तूने मुझे दीवाना बना रखा है, संग हर शख्स ने हाथों में उठा रखा है. So since you have made me mad in your love, everyone is holding a stone in their hands. And Maulana says that गुफ्तमश पोशीदा खुशतर सिर यार खुद तू तर्ज़िन्ने हिकायत गूशदार खुशतरां बाशत के सिर दिलबरां गुफ्त आयत दर हदीस दीगरां. It's I told the heart that keep the secret of beloved in your heart. It's best when it's hidden, and tell the story of your love through the tales of others. Do not narrate your own love story. Always tell it through the stories of the other.
Beautiful. So those are the wise guidelines for us, that line that's drawn for us, how that we should proceed with this great an ocean of love. And this reminding of here's your path, here's your line, follow this one, and people won't throw stones at you. Follow this line, and your heart won't have a heart attack and break. It will melt. And so he has that poem about melting. And then awaken. In the lap, you're a composite body. And of course you forget. You have a dream, everything's so clear, and then you wake up and you forget the dream. So we need the ones who are guiding us in their lap, the ones who are waking us up, saying, this is who you are. And so Bhakti will take this for us, please.
Dervish, awaken, you have been sleeping. Governor left you all alone, beloved, awaken, you were not listening. Now you are lost in the desert of alone. Receive my wisdom, truly awaken. Come not to mystic love. Allah, Allah, receive my wisdom, either is speaking. Come not to mystic love. Guide and awake you, the friend is asking, do you desire the test of unity in your awareness, you soul of your own soul? If you but sing this mystic hymn of unity, receive my wisdom, truly awaken. Come not to mystic love. Allah, Allah, receive my wisdom, Elijah is speaking. Come not to mystic love. Why are you seeking? Where are you going? Surrounded by the radiance of Allah, is a true path leading to union, accompanied by the mystic hands of Allah. Receive my wisdom, truly awaken. Come not to mystic love. Allah, Allah, receive my wisdom. Jesus is speaking. Come not to mystic love. Come not to mystic love.
Thank you. Wonderful. So this is the poem that I was mentioning. And so we read this. The course is the law of the prophet, the Hashemi, the Arabi. This is how I clothed her with a cloak based on every generous chosen teacher. So all of those, we didn't even have time to go through, all of those letters that are inside of us that we love, they are all the generous chosen teachers that we have in our life. They all start from the Wav, and they go all the way into the deepest part of our chest. I declare this, and I am Muhammad ibn al-Arabi, which is I am Muhammad, the child who inherited from the Arabi. And if you ask me if you could read these last verses, and then I think if you could read the third to last one twice. Thank you.
I spoke to who? And he is the koala speaking statements. And in fact, his speech passes from the tongue of the exemplar, the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, to the ear of the hearer, all in my language. He is the one who comes forth in himself, for his precious self. Well, there is no number. So the entity on my part is gone. It is yourself you witness, the precious gem, blessed, by means of yourself. So look into the mirror. You will see me. O hidden one, like me, whoever has this station sees into the gardens of the tender, gentle ones, plucking fruit. But no, I swear by him to whose beautiful zat hearts fly and cling. He consumes hearts from flight. It is yourself you witness, the precious gem, blessed, by means of yourself. So look into the mirror, you will see me.
Beautiful, yes. So that's where Ibn Arabi reaches. And it's when he keeps telling us, and when I first kept reading them, when I many times kept reading it, he says, so don't look into your own mirror. So don't look into your own mirror. Look into the mirror of your prophet. And I kept thinking, well, what's wrong with my mirror? Why can't it work as well? And of course it can't work as well. And I said, well, how do I look in the mirror of the prophet? And well, that's the story. So he guides the ones, the girls, the women, and the freed slave. He has them send out this secret. And the secret is how to follow the course of the Hashemi, the Arabi. And of course, Muhammad ibn Arabi is the one who has inherited from there. So inheriting from there, when he looks in the mirror, he's looking in the mirror of his prophet, and he's seeing me, the divine me. And so this is the special moment. And then we have, so yeah, and we'll just, this poem is, we had to miss most of the middle. It keeps diving into it. It's so beautiful and so deep. And then we have, I'm in love with love. So this first line from this poem, you know that we have to have Farida singing for us. So I think, Aisha, you're going to be able to share the screen and give us that one?
Yeah.
Excellent. So thank you, Aisha, for playing that. And we have Hamid Anur to help us in this next section, this question and answers and responses and things. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum, dear Shuaib. We have a few questions already in the chat box. How do we look in the mirror of the Prophet, peace be upon him?
So that kind of came in the middle part that we had to skip. So we talked a little, so the deep, well, so the wav sound, this oo sound is the last that comes in the lips. And that's, and some people can love Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam from that, the bodily Muhammad, and others who say, but he's an Arab and he's so far away in time, and how can I love this person? And so but they can find it easier to love other letters that came before. So here's I can love the Prophet Moses. I love Jesus. I love my mother. I love my boyfriend. I love my lower self as my God. All of these things are things that come in here. They all have come from somewhere. And if you keep going from the historical bodily Muhammad all the way down into the cave of the heart, and our teacher says that you find your love for Muhammad in the cave of the heart, because you're seeing from the special face that the light of Muhammad shines on this special face, and then it shines through every letter and every sound that's coming up from the chest through the mouth and finally out through the historical bodily Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So that's how we put our Prophet in our mirror, is that we take all the way into the deep part of our chest, and the first place it hits is the special face of the true, which every created being has. And this is where the Torah and the Quran is revealed. And this is the place where, when we're sitting in a circle and people are talking in a very elevated way, in a very beautiful way, someone will say something from the special face of the true. And that will be a revelation. And that's something that we hear as special face of the true. And we honor that and we respect that. And a child might suddenly speak and say that something, and that's from the special face. So the special face is where everything is coming. And then it comes through the chest and things get put onto it. And so the Quran is revealed, the Torah is revealed. And as it comes up in the Quran comes up in 7 paths. These are the 7 recitations of Quran. And then that place, that special face where the Quran is revealed and where that surah is revealed, comes up in another path. And this other path we call, in our line, the heart of Quran, the Sheikh Noor's heart of Quran. So he goes to the same place the surah was revealed. There's 7 paths that go up with the recitations of Quran. There's a path that Ibn Arabi takes, the 114 chapters, where he goes from this place to this top place. And then there's the heart of Quran, which going from the same special face to this top place. You can't go from the top down quite as easily. So some people read the Quran and it sounds harsh to them. They can't understand it. It doesn't really work with them because they're trying to go from the top down. And some people read the Futuhat and they say, I can't read this, it's all crazy. And they can't go from the top down. And some people read the heart of Quran, they say, but this isn't a translation, this isn't a commentary, and they can't go from the top down. And so in all of these, the lover recognizes Zainab and Inayat and Zayd and Amr, and you go down from them into the essence, and you find the light of Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam.
To look in the mirror of one's prophet, one must see and act through the perspective of one's prophet. Is that not what the sunnah essentially is?
So this is seeing through whose eyes do you see? That's right. So whose eyes are you seeing? And what happens is, I was hungry and you fed me not. I was thirsty and you didn't bring me water. So I was hungry. There's a beloved who is hungry, and Allah wants to feed that beloved, but Allah is a being without hands and feet. And so who will be the one who feeds that person? Who will be the one who brings the water to that person? Someone comes up and volunteers with love. I volunteer with love so that my hands and my feet can be your hands and your feet. So this is, of course, the hadith. Approach me and I begin to love them, and I become the hand with which they hold and the foot with which they walk. So approach me, I love to be your slave, and I love to be your hands and your feet. And then you go to that person and you feed them and you bring them water. And then that is Allah's delight in the one who he wanted fed gets fed by you through his hands and his feet. So this is the process. So whose eyes are we seeing? And so when we look in that mirror, we're looking through the eyes of Allah. So I become the eyes which with they see. And so suddenly I see that person, homeless person or a person, and I don't see, the blemishes, the faults, the irritations. I see the way Allah sees, which is my beloved is hungry and I want him fed.
Is the Nur Muhammad Nur?
So the mirror is and the projection screen is Mother Earth, and so Ibn Arabi says that we were created from Mother Earth because Earth is the one that can receive everything, and so all of these shining brilliances from the divine, all these looks into the mirror. What projection screen can receive all of them? If the projection screen is light and you throw light at it, then what's seen? That's light and light and light. But if the projection screen is light blocking and the light is seen, then you see the light. And so, the Mother Earth is where we are put into. Our bodies are Mother Earth, and our place is Mother Earth, and we are in the surface of the earth, of Mother Earth. And from Mother Earth extends the vast earth. And so, we go into our bodies so that we can block the light, so that the light can be seen. So the light comes out, and the first one to receive says, "You are." There's no reality but you. And then the light says, and you are the messenger of my reality, and convey that into this kingdom of light blocking. And so into this kingdom of light blocking, all of us are earth so that we can receive every tajalli, every shining brilliance from the divine.
Can you please explain again about Alif Lam Mim?
So the Aleph stays separate and Lam Mim. So the meme is kingdom, and so it has a stem. You can see the stem of the meme has a kingdom. It's dipping into the ocean of life. The ocean of life is dipped into by this meme. And the meme has a circle, and the circle is that I am the beginning and the end. So that from this pure point, the primal Aleph shines, embracing all the beginning and the end. So the beginning and the end circle is there, the stem going into the kingdom of the ocean of love, of the ocean of life, then projects back into the Lam. And so we're reading this backwards now. Reading into the Lam is the vast earth, is the dream. So the dream is built on everything we see in this world. So Ibn Arabi says there's nothing in paradise that's not here. There's nothing in the hellfire that's not here. Everything here projects onto the Lam, into this vast earth, into this dream world. And all of that is separate from the outside of time Aleph. So the Aleph, which is outside of time, enters into time and is a nightingale, a stranger to space and time. Enters into time and then enters into the Ba. So hides behind the Ba, inside the Ba of Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. That Ba is the boat, and the Ba is the ark, is Noah's ark. And underneath that ark, there is a dot, and the dot is a reminder that the dot is a line, is the Aleph, is a circle, which is the beginning and the end, and is a sphere, which is the sphere from which all originates, the sphere which has no back, and a sphere which has no back, there's nothing behind, and therefore this sphere, this originating, is with you wherever you are.
The mirror is the Surat Nur, the Mohammedan light.
So the Mohammedan light shines on the mirror, and the mirror is the earth, is Mother Earth. And that's why Ibn Arabi is of complete honor and respect and love for Mother Earth. And this is our mother. This is the one that if we didn't have this mother, we could not be born. We could not witness the light. We could not be the film which gets exposed to the light, and then the heart keeps wrapping this film around and around and around so a new exposure is possible. If we were not composite, we would not forget. So forget, forget, forget. And you say to the beloved, show me your face. And they show your face. You're so beautiful. Show me again. I forgot what you look like. Show me again. Show me again. And the heart is able to turn this way, to be shown again, shown again. And each time is abda. Each time is the wondrous first time I've ever seen this. So I gaze at the light that's coming at me and I say, this is the first time I've ever seen you.
From which chapter is Today's Stars? A very beautiful poem indeed.
Yeah. So this is the chapter on the station of love. And the station of love is 178, something like that, chapter 178. And this is the 8th poem of the 8. So these are, I kind of call them thesis poems because each of them presents something to us, presents kind of an argument. And this argument is, since we're all brides of the divine, our beloved is not going to be met in that way until we die. And when we die, it will be our wedding day. And we will be presented to our beloved as brides on our diocese. And until then, the solution is you love love.
Omar, would you speak, please?
Shoaib, my question, just to elaborate on it, seeing in the mirror of the Prophet, I was asking if that is not done by having the perspective of the Prophet. So that's why I said, isn't that what the Sunnah is about? Trying to put you in the perspective of the Prophet by following his acts, by following his doings. So by being in that perspective, you end up seeing through the mirror of the Prophet at a certain essential level. Wouldn't that be right?
Right.
So to the mirror.
So one of the truths that we learn is that when we love someone, we love what they love. And so when I love someone, I love what they love. And so we had that example of the hot sun. So I might dislike hot sun, but my beloved loves hot sun. So when I see the sun is hot today, I say, oh, wonderful. This is a beautiful day because my beloved loves that. And so we lose. And so Ibn Arabi had in the poem, you lose yourself. You lose your feelings about sun and cold. And you see only what your beloved loves. And at some point, what I love and like and my personality, all that starts disappearing because I am so focused on my beloved. And so the beloved's, what he loves is what I love. And when my beloved is Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then all the things that he loves are the ones I love. And these are the ones in, we won't go to that. So that's how, so you become the one you love. And so when you become the one you love, now suddenly, every time my beloved looks out and says, that's my sunnah, that's a good thing, that's something that will harm you, that's something that will distract you, then I'm looking from those eyes. And so that's how I put my beloved in my front of me in my mirror, and then I see the beloved. That's right. Thanks, Omar. Yeah.
We read recently a salawat to the Prophet composed by Sheikh Noor, where he calls the Prophet a 6-dimensional mirror.
Yeah. Well, so I'm just still working on the 4th one, but we could go from there. Already with the 4th, what you have, well, we did this in the illustrated guide. So be looking for the illustrated guide to Ibn Arabi. It's coming out soon, I hope. We looked at this, the barzakh. He's saying when you look at this membrane, there is no back, because we think of a membrane as 2 sides. But what's a membrane that has no back? Everywhere you look, it's the front and there is no back. So lesa warahu marma. There is not behind who any place to target. So what is it's a spherical mirror, and it's an originating point, line, circle, sphere that which has no back. And so it is actually in front of everything, and it is the originator of everything. And this is happening as it originates through into time and space. So Ibn Arabi says, when who comes into time and space, who is humanity. And the only humanity is haq, true, and khal, creation. And so this is helping us move into these other dimensions. And what's so fascinating is that you can take everything that we learned from dimensions and start seeing them in this very beautiful way. So that's why I had somewhere up on that slide, you had the hop vibration, and I won't be able to read it here, but so S1 is a copy of S3 in a space where a non-conjoint, and it just keeps going on. And it makes sense to people like our brothers who know math. Our beautiful sister Jana is a mathematician. She knows these things. It makes sense to them. For me, it's love. It makes it a little easier, but it is the same thing we're talking about.
An addendum, I think, to that question is Allahi 55. I gaze into the mirror of truth. My eyes are the eyes of Ali. Essence gazes at my essence. One essence gazes at one essence.
Right. And that's exactly, and you remember, and so in the middle of number 5, we had all the Ali is our mystic guide, Ali, the gates of Ali and all of that. So that was all in the middle there. So it's very important to be able to see that the Nur Muhammad, where, Ali sort of, what his role in all of this transmission is. So it's certainly there. And of course it's Ya Ali, Ya Hassan, Ya Hussein, Ya Fatima, Alif Lam Mim. So those are the 5 under the cloak, and that's how we see where things start, where things get wrapped up, and where things circle.
The Alif Lam Mim, i.e. Jabarut Malakut Mulk, is also referred to as a kitab, i.e. book. Can you please tell us more about the verb kataba and what a kitab is and how to best read this book?
Okay. Well, Musaba's probably going to have to help us with that one. The imagery that Ibn Arabi uses with book is about these scratching onto a tablet. So a pen scratches onto a tablet. And so the tablet is, when the tablet, which is a light being, comes into the mulk, the kingdom, that tablet is Mother Earth. And scratched into the Mother Earth is this pen. And so the pen, Ibn Arabi says, call it the pen, call it the first aql, the first intellect, call it the haq Muhammadi, as we do. And so this pen scratches letters into our earthly body, and meaning never resides in the book, never resides in me. It doesn't reside in the words that are scratched onto me. Meaning goes into another dimension. So the meaning is orthogonal to all of the other dimensions. So that's how you look at it. You write a letter and then you breathe into it and give it a vowel. And when it's given a vowel, it's alive, it's harakat, it's moving. And if it doesn't move, it's surd, it's a consonant, and surd means it's mute and doesn't speak. So if it's a consonant that's given a vowel and it's moving, then orthogonal to that process, there is meaning. So meaning is not lodged in the word. Meaning is not lodged in the letter. Meaning is not lodged into me. The meaning that I create is the bridge of life that I will see when I pass. So when I die and look, I'll see a bridge, and I'll know that that bridge is a bridge of my design, of my construction, and that all of these scratchings in this earth that I am, we're creating orthogonal to this reality, creating this bridge that I'll see after I pass. And the way to read that is to feel the scratches on your body. And so you feel the scratches on your body. You feel the places. And the word kalima, which is word, is kulma, which is the wound. So when we are told to be, if you take a piece of film and you shine a light that's so powerful, the photons will actually push the film back slightly, and they'll imprint into this film. So we are being imprinted at every moment, and we're imprinted, and we want to feel these imprints. Where are we? And feel the ridges and the imprints and the scars and the wounds and the tenderness. That's where we read the book. And when we read that book, we're reading orthogonally to it, we're reading meaning. And so like the vinyl record, we put the stylus on and we think that there's a linear time. Whereas the stylus or the record's all done, it's all complete. There's a beginning and there's an end. and the record is already there. The stylus can skip a few times, and we say déjà vu. Ooh, I skipped a track or two, or wherever we put the needle, that is our life. And yet the sound itself is not meaningful. It's what's created into this orthogonal place, and what's created, and therefore I can go to the same record, the same sound, and understand it again and give it new meaning. So the meaning part of it never ends, and the creation of meaning and the modulation of meaning never ends, even though the record is fixed.
If we perceive ourselves as brides, does this not go against Surah Ikhlas?
So Ikhlas, like everything else, has to be read twice, or Omar will say it has to be read 3 times. But let's just say 2 times right now. So, so the once is for Allah, the transcendent, and the other time we read it is for Allah, the all-comprehensive name. So who is given the all-comprehensive name? Adam, Eve, when they're a lump of clay, are breathed into by Ar-Rahman. They are flush against the image of Ar-Rahman, and they are given the all-comprehensive name. The all-comprehensive name of Ism al-Jami is Allah. So they are given Allah. They are given Allah, the all-comprehensive name. So Qul hu Allahu ahad. There is one of these. There's one Adam, Eve. There's no other. There's not 2. And Allah is, and this comprehensive Allah name is where all turn to for resort to for support. So Samad here is resorting to, needing help and refuge. This lump of clay, which is Adam, Eve, was not born from anything and does not give birth to anything. Nothing comes from the one until they're separated, and then they can give birth to things. But until then, they came from no one's birthing them. They were formed by Allah's 2 hands. And they give no offspring. So there's lam yalid wa lam yulid. And there is nothing like this lump of clay, which is the all-comprehensive name of Allah, which did not give birth and has not been given, did not come from birth. There is no partner to it. There's no one like it. Allah is not at all like that. There are no other ones like that. There's only this one. So there is no kufuwan. There is no match to it. So this one has no match. So we read that the Ikhlas twice in those ways.
Is the Nur Muhammad Nur the mist?
No, so the Sai creates the mist, and in the mist, the first being is created. And the first being that's created, as soon as he wakes up, is burst into life, sees where he came from. And this is the imagery of the mother and the child. So we want the child to look at us and say, I came from you, you're my mother. And we have the lovely story when I was a kid, are you my mother? Are you my mother? What a great little story that was. But it's, you want the child to say, you're my mother. And what you don't want is the baby says, I gave birth to myself. I don't need you. So we want the baby to look at us and say, you are my mother. And so that the beauty of you are my mother, and then that distance, from the breast to the baby, to eyes, to the mouth, all that distance is where everything is happening. And so that is the primordial love. It's the love of the mother to the baby to the mother. It's the love of the haqq to the khalq, the creation, who is the perfect creation, who is the perfect humanity, who is the light of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So, okay.
So run out of questions, at least for the moment. So
the timing is perfect. We're 1 minute over. That's perfect.
I want to ask Taisha to post the ways that we can contribute to your work, which you so generously offer. And here it ready, the snail mail address, and we'll get the other address shortly. And another wonderful class as usual.
Alhamdulillah, it was wonderful to be with y'all. So wonderful to see everyone today. Thank you. Alhamdulillah.
Thank you so much.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. And Safiya there from Oliva, wonderful. And Martha made it. Alhamdulillah, thank you.
Shukran, Shuaib.
Good to see you. Oh, thank you. Good to see you. Okay. And, Nabila is here. Good. I wasn't sure you made it. Good to see you. Alhamdulillah. Okay, all the beloveds. Take care. Be well.